You know, it's actually pretty hard not to put expectations on someone you care about. That includes yourself. We have these ideas of how people and things are supposed to be and act based on our life experiences, relationship examples, and now social media. Expectations aren't always a bad thing. They can set a standard by which we judge if something or someone is right for us, if it fits into our lives. Just like anything in excess, if we set too many or too unrealistic expectations, we can set ourselves up for failure, leaving us feeling alone and disappointed.
Toxic. Love, love, silver whiskey. Love, love. Indeed. Let's talk about it. We ain't sipping no tea, sipping no whiskey. We don't make love, but we fuck when we get tipsy. We ain't got no shame in our game. Ain't do nothing wrong, cause this for the grown.
So tonight, guys, I am sipping on another Uncle Nearest because, let's just be honest, it's my favorite brand right now, Black woman owned. Let's go. In Tennessee. But Uncle Nearest Master Blend Edition with blends plenty. Now, you can only get this bottle as such at the distillery. All right. And basically, the Master Blend means that they have meticulously blended several different versions of the Uncle Nearest whiskey together to create a very unique and smooth taste. Now, this is 122.5 proof. So this isn't for the weak, because trust me, it can get you where you're going. But again, it is so good. And if you want to learn more about Uncle Nearest, go to unclenearest.com. I'm going to pour me a little up. And again, the only reason why I'm going to add me a little coke is because I have to be coherent on this good podcast. All right. And when I say a little this time, I mean like splash. Okay. Splash. That's it, because there's no need to mix this. Under normal circumstances, I would never mix this because it's just that good. Just chill it or put it on the rocks and you're good to go. Uncle Nearest Master Blend. Now let's get into it. All right, guys, before we get too far down into this good podcast of great expectations, do we expect too much from our partners or ourselves? I want to introduce my special guest, Miss Tanisha, better known as the Pintsize Diva. What's going on, Tanisha?
Hey girl, what's the tea? How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to have you on. I'm so grateful for you joining me. And for those of you who don't know, Tanisha also has a bomb-ass podcast. You want to give yourself a little plug? Tell me about your podcast.
Well, hello everyone. I am Pintsize Diva, host of this Hard to Be Me the podcast. I talk about life, love, relationships after you turn 40 years old. So all the stuff they don't tell you and all the misconceptions they tell you down to the church and everywhere else you at, just scrap all that because it usually doesn't happen. So I give it from a real life perspective, from the life of a curvy girl.
That's what's up. And I listen to her podcast, y'all. So y'all be sure to find her on Spotify, but right now on YouTube, right? So go like and subscribe the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
I'll
I
be
have
sure,
both now.
got you. I'll be sure to put a link up for you. But okay,
Absolutely.
just a little backstory. Me and Tanisha have known each other for a good minute, a good long minute now. We used to both model actually here in
Yes,
the city when we put the plus size girls on the map. Indeed.
indeed, that part.
So, me and Tanisha go back a good ways and we chit chat and I consider her a good friend. She's an amazing person and an even more amazing mother. And if y'all knew her backstory, you would appreciate it just a little bit more. So be sure to go check
Oh,
out her podcast.
thank you.
Absolutely, honey. Absolutely. So let's jump into it. The tricky thing about expectations is we don't know they're too much until it's too late. If you find yourself wondering if you expect too much from your partner, chances are someone has let you down or you feel like everyone has let you down, right?
Yes,
Society
very much
tells,
so.
yes, honey. Society tells us that having too high of expectations indicates that you're picky, selfish, or take too much from others, while at the same damn time telling us not to settle. So how the fuck we supposed to
Oh,
figure out the middle ground? Like seriously,
very girl.
right? How do we know if we're applying too much pressure on our partners as well as ourselves? You got some experience with that, Tanisha?
Yes, sometimes you don't know. You know, as I call it in this unfortunate world of dating at 44, sometimes it's not black and white, sometimes it's gray and green. And I say that because they put up a really good front. Disclaimer, I keep it a book who drive a truck, so I'm sorry if I'm offending any men out there, but step your game up. Anywho,
Huh.
but
Facts,
and
baby.
because we will sip our tea so we can flee. Okay, for real. So I feel like a lot of men they put up a facade of what they want you to see. So
Mm.
that way on the back end they can get what they want from you because you pretty much gave them the blueprint of everything that they want to hear. So all they gotta do is follow the playbook. They're not chasing anymore.
Ooh.
And my experience is I just had to distance myself from someone and I just noticed how that person wanted to be around me at night, but not in the day. You want to play,
Mm.
but you don't want to stay.
Mm. Yes, ma'am. That wasn't a too high expectation. That was
So I
just
was
somebody
like,
that was tripping.
that type of stuff to get folks pregnant and get you caught up in some stuff, and I ain't got time for it.
Ooh, at all. Ooh, at all. So
Because it's
let's
almost, cuffing season almost over.
true, true, because they gonna break up before. No, we passed Valentine's Day. So yep, it's over, baby. They through.
Now Mother's Day, they got to break it. Like if you get past Valentine's Day, that means you at least got one good trait. And then if you can't get past Mother's Day or
Got you.
Easter,
Teach me, baby. Cause okay.
I I had to hear that from somebody else. They was like,
Mm,
if you get past Valentine's Day, that means there's something about you that they like, but they don't want to quite let it go yet. But they ain't gonna take you to church on Easter, and they for sure ain't gonna introduce you to their mom on Mother's Day.
makes sense. It makes sense. So let's get into our partners. We unconsciously go into relationships with like premeditated notions of who does what. Like true story. For example, who is supposed to pick up the bill at dinner? Who takes care of the finances? Who washes the dishes? How many times we're supposed to have sex, etc. Many of us buy into this idealized partner fantasy whom we expect to be intellectually stimulating, a great listener, good fuck, nice to look at, connected, sexy, successful, fun, romantic, healthy, or any other adjectives that suits us. A relationship with this person is perfect. Who wouldn't want a partner that is thriving in their own right and exceeds our expectations and knows exactly how to be there for us in mind, body, and spirit? But wait a minute. The fact of the matter is the perfect person, partner, and relationship, that shit don't exist.
Hmm.
That's a dream. That's something we make up because we grew up watching Cinderella and all of these Disney movies that tell us that our Prince Charming is out there. So if somebody falls short of what we deem we need, now it's a problem.
That's true.
Right. So, in fact, someone who appears to be perfect, right, and checks all of our
Right.
boxes of expectations will eventually fall short because you don't give them any room, right? And that's just the nature
Right.
of relationships. Perfection fades fast. But real talk, Tanisha, if someone seems perfect, check that red flag. Because something crazy
Mm-hmm.
lurking under the surface.
Mm-hmm. Mental
Been
health
there,
can be
done that.
trash.
Mm,
I have to, unfortunately.
right? Something wrong with
Like they
them.
say, you gotta take out the box and actually take everything out the box.
Mm,
You gotta take everything out the box. I think that what I want to piggyback on, which you was talking about, is about the unrealistic expectations in the Disney fairy princess. But I just on that one, I feel like sometimes we do have a preconceived notion that is true, but that also goes both ways. Because of these days, a lot of men want a woman to come into a relationship doing wifely privileges on the girlfriend budget.
mm.
Or they want you to be, oh, they want you to be a wife, they want you to be a wifey as a side chick. Or they want you to be a wifey as a busset.
Talk to
You can't be that. I'm sorry, that don't work that way.
them. Because if I'm doing wifely duties, you're going to be doing husband duties.
Because I don't get it. I don't. What baffles my mind about that is you can't expect a woman to do all these things, but if she needs you to be emotionally stable, you got a problem.
Mm.
Or
True
beside asking how
story.
many baby mamas you got, or the last time you've been to the clinic, or what relationship do you have with, your parents or your family? It's a problem. You want all access to me, but I can't have all access to you. That's not a complete man.
Oh, go on and drop these gems on them, Tanisha. Go on and drop them. Now, that's a word. Now, does this mean that, we become complacent and stay in a fucked up situation? No. It means that we have to do some self reflecting to see if we place unrealistic expectations on our partners. Because if we don't, resentment can set in on both sides. And there goes the entire relationship. So we really gonna talk about
I agree.
self-reflection. So you did it. So what are some ways that you think we can check our expectations?
Well, I can tell you where I messed up and I can tell you how I fixed it. So where I
Yes.
messed up at is I thought that since I had a child before I got married that I had to submit because I didn't think nobody else would want me.
Mm,
And that's the one thing that I try to encourage young ladies to not do is to don't think that because you are a teenage mother or you're a single mother that you have to settle for the first thing smoking because I was fooled like that and I was deceived in that way. And that's the worst thing you can do because they feel like they super saver. Like they
oh,
came and cleaned you up, dust you off, put you in a nice outfit, popped you with two more kids, and they think they run you. It don't function that way.
it sure in the
And
hell
then
don't.
you cannot be your man's everything.
Mm, nobody can. Nobody can be anybody's everything. And you shouldn't want somebody to be your everything. You got to be everything to your damn self.
I agree. And I tried to do that and it did not work. Because I don't care how fine, how sexy you are, big boobs, booty, small waist, good wop, whatever it is. If he do not want you, sister, he do not want you at all. It do not matter. You can look fine and have all the money in the world, but they would go pick up Ratchet Susie from off the block and be just as happy with her. So that is the unrealistic expectation I had and what I did to fix it. I had to take some time to fix myself. I
Mm,
had to go, what is wrong with you? What did you do? And not in the relationship, but what you do yourself. And I realized I was
right.
broken.
Mm,
And I took about 4 years to truly work on myself, peel back those layers, and uncover the things that I never talked to anybody about. And that now I'm becoming a whole person because I wasn't whole then. So that'd be the
yeah.
advice I would give to any of your listeners is to peel back the layers of who you are and understand that just because a relationship doesn't work out doesn't mean that you can't learn from it.
Mm,
Peel it back, discover who you are, and come back stronger and better and rise like a phoenix.
absolutely. You touching on things I was going to touch on later, but better preach on it. because you sure giving some knowledge, and I understand what you're saying because I wasn't necessarily a teenage mother, although I was barely above a teenager when I had my son. I was married, but we all have those thoughts of self-doubt and like, is somebody gonna want me? Because not only do I have a infant, he was 1 when I got divorced, but I'm 21 or 22 and divorced. Like, that's a whole situation. And some people will look at that and think of damaged goods or think that they can just run through you because they don't feel like you worthy. And again, those are harmful self expectations that we put on ourselves, that can damage our next relationship before we even get into it. So I
That's right.
definitely
But
understand.
but I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Why is the expectation so harsh for a woman? But when it comes to a man, they can break up with a woman on Monday and sleep with another woman by the end of the night and have a new girlfriend by next week.
Because society has different rules for men and women, and it ain't nothing nobody can tell me otherwise, because it
You're
goes
right.
back to old days where women was to be seen and not heard, where their
Mm,
marriages were prearranged for the good of the family. Didn't matter if you loved your husband or wanted to get married at 12, you was popping out babies at 13. That's where it
you're
goes
right.
back to. And that's the society that we live in because honestly, a lot of people still have these preconceived notions. They still have
That's
this
true.
idea. And that's why, right? Because
Because
women
they feel like it's your
feel
body, it's our body, your choice.
100% because you ain't having these cramps I be having in order to pop out these babies. When you start having cramps and bleeding for a week, then you come holler at me about my vagina, okay? Until then, keep your
I
opinions
agree.
to yourself. So we were talking about
Right.
what are some ways that you can self-check your expectations. And Tanisha shared her story, and I appreciate it, and she is correct and all the things that she said. Another way that you can self-check is to talk to someone you trust. And I said trust. Someone you know is going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or
Yeah.
not. Someone that doesn't have a dog in the fight, and someone that ain't interested in your man. Because some of y'all got
Trust.
some best friends that want to do your
Yeah.
dude, that's feeding him information behind your back and you don't even know it. So don't talk to them,
Woo.
right? So that impartial person can be a therapist, it can be a friend, it can be his mama, it can be anybody. But make sure it's somebody that you trust, right? This one goes along to what you were saying, Tanisha. Making sure you don't have unprocessed pain from your past that remains unchecked. And you projecting this shit to your current situation. In the same vein, check your insecurities because we
Yes.
tend to project those too onto the people that we're in relationships with. It's
Yeah.
like
That's true.
because we was cheated on, now we assume that the next person gonna cheat. And we put some real bad mojo on a relationship and then wonder why it don't work out. Because not everybody's
Yeah,
gonna be
you're right
patient
about
and
that.
work through it. But anyway, so the next one, make sure that you're living up to your own expectations. Now, that's my favorite
Woo.
one.
That's the word.
Because if you got a whole checklist, make sure you can check off the boxes on that list before you try to put that on somebody else.
That part.
Now, fellas, I'm going to have y'all back on this one because it tend to be us. It tend to be women that have this issue. We want a man that's of high caliber and high standing, got a good job, drive a nice car, got a home, stable, secure, and all of these things that can buy me things, that can take me on vacation, they can pay for all the meals. But then in turn, we ain't got none of this shit.
Can't cook worth a flip.
Can't cook, got a fake Michael Kors bag that we just keep on us, and try to floss because we think we cute. And that's the truth.
And sleeping on the floor.
And sleeping on the floor, Tanisha. They got an air mattress on the damn ground.
Ooh, ooh, not the air mattress on the floor.
The air mattress on the floor, but expect a man to have it all together.
That man is not a flying wallet.
Listen, what life say, don't be a nickel out here looking for a dime.
Ooh,
If you a
ooh, I like
nickel,
that one.
baby, if you a nickel, look for a nickel. Meet
Yeah,
your partner where they are because ain't shit wrong. Let me, even though I'm criticizing, there's nothing wrong with meeting a person where you are and growing together because nine
yeah,
times out of 10, the men or the people that have it all together, they already with someone because that person was with them to help them grow.
true. Or they got to where they are and they made a decision on, I'm just gonna stick with the one trusted, or I'm gonna be by myself and be a player.
100%. So we got to check ourselves, ladies. And I'm talking to ladies right now because that's
Hmm.
mostly who it is. Now, you got these outliers or these so-called men, and I use that term loosely, that do the
Loosely.
same thing loosely, baby, that want a sugar mama and want the same thing and want a woman to have it all together and be perfect, but they Nick Cannon out here and got 13 baby mamas and got 13 baby mamas,
Ooh, child, the tea is hot.
but want you to be pure at heart and in vagina.
Or they want all those expectations. They want you to have a Coca-Cola bottle looking like Megan Thee Stallion, but you out here look like Porky the Pig. And
Mm,
you overdrafting every week trying to live a lifestyle you ain't got. And
not
then you
the
got
vagina.
you got ED. You taking out balance assisted loans with your bank, and you wearing the same drawers from Monday and today's Thursday. I'm just saying.
Mm, I wasn't ready for that, but that's how Tanisha roll, baby. So just I wasn't ready. But you ain't said nothing but the truth. You ain't said nothing but the truth. I'm right. Now, having high expectations doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't valid, right?
Hmm.
Or that the feelings that you have about those expectations aren't important. What it means is, and I'm going to lean in so y'all can hear me real good. You are expecting others to provide you with something they are incapable of giving you fully. And more than likely, you
Ooh.
need to give these things to your damn self, right?
Mm, right.
You trying to pull what they say blood out of a turnip. You putting all these expectations on somebody that's just simply incapable
Hmm.
and then get mad,
Yep.
right? Now, that's talking about expectations on other people, but truly the core issue, whether it's about other people or not, is that we have too high expectations on ourselves.
Yep.
So take everything previously stated and internalize that shit and apply it to yourself.
That's
We
right.
are truly our worst critics. But where does this come from? And how do we know when our personal expectations become unhealthy and toxic?
Very, very much so.
Right? So, how do we know? And a lot of people be like, let me tell you something that's one of my pet peeves. And it ain't off topic, it's on topic. But one of my pet peeves is is when people focus on social media and they be like, oh, goals, relationship goals, business
Ooh.
goals, right? Based on perception, based on what people want you to see, because
Hmm.
social media is full of what I want you to see. You're not seeing real. You seeing what I want to project you to see. So when you sitting at home comparing yourself to what we see
Yep.
on TV, these lives we see on the reality shows, these goals that other people are making in the relationships that other people having, that shit is fake. And so you setting yourself up for failure because you setting yourself up to have the expectations of some shit that don't even exist.
That's true. And while you sip your drink, that
Mm,
is very, very true. Because look at all these celebrity marriages that's going down the toilet. Portia and Simon Guardia, whatever his name is. You married, you went over there and bended low and spread it wide on that woman husband and had that man all caught up in the sauce, and then you turned around and took that woman husband and he took you through all types of hell and mischief. That is your karma. That man, you should have left that little raggedy man right on over there. She had an expectation that that man had all this money, had all this privilege, all this lifestyle. And when she
Mm.
got over there and she thought she was gonna have the same life, the same thing, and all that stuff, and it didn't work. But what I do agree is that you do have to have your own before you expect somebody to do something for you. You have to have that. And that's not even just finances. That's internal and external. And I think a lot of people look at social media, like you said, relationship goals. And I don't look at it as that. Like you said, that is only a snapshot of what they show. I like to follow channels that tell you the truth. Like, we struggling. We ain't always been this way. We like Kadena DeVal Ellis. I love the fact that they're so transparent about the things they've been through, about how they almost wasn't together and how they had
Mm.
to grow together as adults. I like the fact that they're so honest about it. But I
Right.
also love the fact that you have people that will tell you, like, for me, I have no problem telling you that mentally I was struggling. You know what I'm saying? And that, relationship wise hasn't been my thing. And that's why I always tell people before you start as a content creator, before you start trying to give people advice, make sure you got your stuff together. Because if you get too big up in the social media world and you start getting millions and millions of followers and you say one thing wrong, they will clock your teeth. TikTok will destroy your career in one statement. And that's why I was like, I want to be successful, but not so successful to the point where y'all is trying to be all up in my business.
100%, Tanisha. I agree with you. And when I say that people be like goals, I mean that some people like idolize people that they don't even know
Hmm.
and they don't even know the situation. Now, we should and can draw inspiration from other people. There's nothing wrong
Hmm.
with that because even if it's fake, sometimes we can get inspiration from it and it can
Gotta fake it till you
motivate
make it.
us. You right? It can motivate us in ways. So that's okay. But what I'm talking about is how people be like, oh, this is goals. And they hold these people up on such a high level. And then when it comes out that something is wrong or it's not how now they devastated, like they in the relationship,
You're right. Now, you
right?
know who that happened to? That happened
True.
to this young couple called Ken and De'Ara.
Okay.
They were like a really young content creator, had been together. The De'Ara was from Memphis, actually, which is crazy
Okay.
enough that I thought about this. She was from Memphis, came from
Okay.
nothing, built their social media, got with him. They moved to Atlanta, from what I saw, and they were building this empire, had millions of followers, two different channels, making all this money, doing all this stuff. And then one day it just came crashing down. It's like the whole internet for like a year and a half was vested in what happened and why. And
Mm.
they idolized these folks so much. They was like everything that he did and she did, they was just following them. And well, I saw them doing this and I saw them doing that. They started, like you said, they started idolizing them. When my daughter was discussing it, I told her, I said, this is the reason why I don't look at couples on social media like relationship goals. This is why when
Right.
I see the motivation, like you said, I see the okay, well, if I work harder, if I try some of this, maybe it'll work for me. But that's not everybody's life story. And you have
Right.
to realize that behind all the money, behind the camera, behind the red carpets, whatever it is, these are
It's
still
real
two
life.
individuals that chose to share their life together. And if it
Facts.
don't work out, it's okay they don't work out, but don't make them feel like they're God in so many words in order to see what they got because they literally tore them down and then made fun of when they did. And I just
Mm.
think that's not a safe thing because you have content creators these days, as soon as somebody try to come out of their career, they're committing suicide. And I hate to say it like that, but they are.
I was just about to say that they are out here killing themselves because this facade and this persona that they have built up is crashing down, and they don't know what to do with their real life. See,
Hmm.
that's something else. So we get into something else, baby, and I love getting into something else. So we gonna get into it, okay? Because we create these fake lives. We create these social personas and how we want other people to perceive us. And to a degree, that's healthy and that's okay. Because, like you said, sometimes we have to fake it till we make it. Not necessarily because we're trying to give false information, but because we're trying to inspire ourselves. and trying to like speak into existence what we want and what we need. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But the flip side of that is when you start believing your own lies and believing the shit that you putting out there, even though you know it's wrong, even though you know it's fake.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, you got to come home to your real life. You got to come home to your real wife. You got to come home to your real husband. You got to come home to your real non-existent ass kids. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to return that Bentley because you know you leased it for the day. Like you got to deal with your own shit at the end of the day. And some people, it's tying back in because some people put those unrealistic expectations on themselves and then they can't deal with that shit and they unalive themselves. You dead ass right. And that's self-inflicting.
It is.
And it's sad.
I just wish we'd get back to the days where we can still be able to have something to look forward to without pushing people so much that they don't even want to have anything else but what they see on social. I call it the veil of ignorance. That's what I call it. Because it's people have
I like it.
I learned it when I was going to college and they did it was like a whole thing in English class about the veil of ignorance. And basically what it is that they said there's three barriers to everybody's life. It's the reality, it's the veil of what you want people to see about you, and then there's the truth. So there's three different layers of it. And I think a lot of people these days live in the veil of ignorance.
Child, you so said I'm gonna use that. I'm still in it, Tanisha. I'm still in it. The veil. Baby, we walking around talking about stuff. Oh, baby, you in the veil of ignorance. I promise. I'm gonna be like, don't worry about it. You just in the veil of ignorance. It's okay. Watch. I promise. But yeah, so back to how do we know when our personal expectations become unhealthy and toxic, right? So I'm gonna give some examples. It's just like how I was talking about when we were talking about like relationships and you can recognize you have too high expectations on others. Like sometimes, a lot of times, we have unresolved issues from our past.
Yes.
Be that romantic relationships, friendships, childhood trauma from our parents, or lack thereof, can cause us to overcorrect. We want so bad not to be the person we can't stand, or we want to forget so bad what happened to us that we either lock it away and don't address it, or we go way too far left and hyper focus on the opposite of who or what that painful person or situation was. It's really like a mind fuck.
It really is.
To be perfectly honest.
That was me forever. That was me for a very long time. It really was. I'm just gonna push it back. I'm just gonna push it back. For some reason, when you turn 40, who's shy?
All that
It's
shit
like you can't hold nothing back no more.
Baby, you gotta face it. I'm with you. I will be 41 in a month, less than a month. And I am with you. It is something about now. We're gonna have to do a whole podcast on turning 40. Because it is something, it is a shift. And I've heard so many women say the same thing. It is a shift when you turn 40. Mentally, physically, everything, emotionally, it's a whole shift. And honestly, you get into your I don't give a fuck era, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't fall into that category. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have unresolved issues from my past because I was in an abusive relationship with my son's father. And previous to him, I was in another abusive relationship. So I jumped from abusive relationship to a lesser abusive relationship. And I didn't deal with that trauma. I didn't deal with those issues. So, like, I was bringing all of that baggage, not purposefully, not intentionally, but I was bringing all of that into my current relationship, yet expecting him to be the perfect boyfriend when I, in fact, was full of shit. I'll call it a spade is a spade.
Girl, I understand.
I was a hot ass mess, Tanisha. I was a hot ass mess. And you know, I've been with Eric for 18 and a half, almost 19 years. And no, we are not married. And that's a whole nother topic because people be getting real mad when I say this shit. Worry about yourself. Don't worry about what we got going on over here. Because I'm
They
tell
need
you
they need
what,
to check they need to check their own relationship before they start talking about you. They need to check
honey,
why that man ain't coming home at night.
because let me tell you, a lot of these mofos out here been married and divorced 4 times in the span that we still been together. So who really living? Like, let me just say that. Who really got the real relationship? Don't worry about it if we married, baby. Worry about yourself. Because your man was in my DM. So worry about yourself. I'm just saying. But all
She
of
said what
that,
she said.
I said what I said. But all of that to say, we have to stop, male or female, because let me get on this, and it's a whole nother tangent, but I don't care because it's what I do on Sex, Love, Whiskey. We go on tangents. Now, a lot of times we focus on women and bringing baggage, right? Like you hear all the time about a woman brought baggage and a woman brought past relationships into the current relationship, but men do that shit too.
Yeah,
Let's be
they do.
real.
And they don't realize they doing it though.
That's the thing. Because us women, we pretty much know we brought some baggage in. Somebody will call us on our bullshit and we'll be like, yeah, that was
Absolutely.
for you. You know? But men will bring their baggage into the relationship too. They'll have a bad relationship or a female that done them wrong. And so now, if y'all don't stop with these thumbs up, and so now they think that you the same type of female that they was just with,
Yeah,
or they think that they can go through your phone or control you or can be dominant because that's what they did in a past relationship, and like that's a whole
that is
situation
true.
and a whole problem.
Girl, I can spill a
You know
whole bunch of tea on that, but I'm trying to be nice because this ain't my platform. But I'll say this.
why you have to be
Don't.
nice, girl? Speak your mind, speak your truth. I'ma
Well,
sit there with you.
I'll say this. When you have men that try to control women like that,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they're compensating for other things, or they're trying to hide things they don't want nobody to see.
Facts.
The veil of ignorance is real.
Mm. Facts, Khadijah. Facts, baby.
Because a lot of times they not working with what they think they're working with, and that's in their wallets and in the bottom regions as well. You done had some woman because you got money over there. Ooh, daddy, ooh, knowing they going home and calling Mr. Ooh wee.
Picking up that rose,
Men have such an
baby.
issue with the roles, girl.
Or they calling their girlfriend because, you know,
Ooh, mm, you don't mess
oh,
around being in the group chat because y'all think women don't be talking about y'all lies.
right? So
The
fast.
caveat is that men talk about women just the same. That's why you
Oh,
see
that's
the same type
true.
of men around those same 6 or 7 women. It's because they done told each other, oh yeah, if you buy this, she'll do this. Or if you do this, she'll do that. You don't want to be the person that walk into the room and everybody go, hey.
Right.
Because everybody in the room didn't see your ecstasy face. What the heck? But I will say this, the person I was dealing with, he had a
Um,
control issue. But I had to realize why the control issue was there. I realized because he used to be a big dude. So he got all skinny
mm,
and started smelling himself and he started acting like he ain't had no damn sense. And then he thought since I was a big girl, he thought I was gonna be like, okay, whatever, and dot dot dot. Lies. He don't understand that I would check you in the most Christian-like way, and your whole feelings will be messed up. I was
in the
like, you're not
name
working
of
with
Jesus.
half in the name of the Lord. I was like, you're not working with half of the skills you think you're working with. You need a haircut, your breath stink, and you need to clean your car. And the only reason why
Oh,
they dating you is because you look buff. It ain't because you got money. Oh,
oh,
child. Oh, this necklace surely is pretty.
you ain't lying though, Tanisha. We touching on a whole bunch of things in this expectations, but I am here for it because that is very true. It still ties in because listen, I'm gonna piggyback off what you just said. This ain't in the script, but I'm gonna piggyback off what you just said because sometimes we start setting these high ass expectations when we think that we cute. when we have come from a place where we wasn't getting none, with nobody checking for us, we change
Mm-hmm.
ourselves physically, or we start getting a bag, and then we have these super high, superficial ass expectations for somebody that we gonna be in a relationship with when we
Mm-hmm.
know we ain't never had that before. So why all of a sudden is it that we had to beat this high level and this high standard when you ain't even had that before? And then, like you said, a lot of people, especially when they go through a physical formation,
Yes.
they will go back to somebody or go to someone who they deem less than them so
Mm-hmm.
they can project the same feelings that people projected on them.
I
That's
already
the
know.
fucked up cycle of abuse
It becomes a control thing.
because,
When they get fine and buff and get all their money and stuff, they don't want nobody that's on the same
listen,
caliber as them because they cannot control. So they double back and get somebody who's below the totem pole in their eye so they can manipulate and dangle the money like a carrot. But women do that mess too.
oh, 100%.
Women do that mess too. It ain't
100%.
cute, boo. That ain't the tea.
It's
You still
it's
that
not.
insecure little girl that was looking in the mirror talking about why my butt ain't getting big.
I was finna say, baby, because right now it's all about the big booties. I go get my BBL from Dr. Miami. I go get my extensions and make my hair real long and sexy. I go get my boobs
And
done
then
and make them real
wonder why
high.
the new guy that you dating with all them high expectations, wonder why he dogging you out. Because you still got that
Ooh,
little girl mentality, but in a new woman body.
y'all gang, baby. The plus size women got going on. And let me tell you why plus size women, thickums, whatever you want to call them, got it going on. And y'all love us. Y'all love us in secret. Y'all love us loud. And I'm telling you the truth, and don't try me because I will send the screenshots, okay? Y'all love us because number one, we have learned to deal with adversity. We have
Mm-hmm.
learned to deal with foolishness. We have
Yep,
learned to deal with disrespect. We have learned to love our motherfucking selves,
that's right.
purpose, and we got some of the best personalities in life. Not to mention
That's
some of the
true.
best good, baby, because he ain't about nothing
Okay.
until you got into some thick thighs. You hear me?
Okay, you getting them thighs and don't want to go nowhere.
Okay. And you just lay right here and come on home to mama because that's how you feel. Now, you might say otherwise on your fake profile on Facebook, but like I said, don't try me. Don't try me, okay?
Be
I got
be
time.
on Facebook flogging with all the skinny girls. Got nine skinny girls around, knowing that your knowing you be hit women inbox looking like the farmers market. I'm just saying.
No, knowing, baby. And knowing you gonna call your thick girl up to come to the house after you get through messing with the little skinny chicks. But anyway, that's a whole other tangent that we just went out on.
We love all of our ladies. Shout out to y'all. Woo! But
Oh,
a
you
lot of y'all
ain't
men
done
be lying to y'all. I'm sorry. Wonder why y'all get in a relationship, they always taking you out to eat. That's because they want you to be thick.
yet. You gonna eat your cake, anime? Anyways, let's get back on track. So, how or what is another way that you can self check yourself for too high expectations on yourself, right? So, if you feel like you are always short of your goals or that you're not doing enough when the people around you are telling you that indeed you are, your
Hmm.
expectations are probably too damn high. Perfection is not the
Yeah.
goal. Progress is. You have to give yourself grace and celebrate your wins, all of them. Now, I'm a big believer in celebrating your wins because if you don't celebrate yourself, who the hell else is going to do so?
I'm working on that one. That's a hard one for me. That one.
It's a hard one for a lot of people. It's a hard one for a lot of people. I'm starting this thing. I ain't even said it, but I guess by the time this come out, it'll be out. Branded by Leah, where I'm a brand therapist. And part of that is I tell my
Ooh.
clients, yes, I tell my clients to celebrate themselves, celebrate your small wins. Because a lot of time people set a goal, right? That's like further down the line and it's like really high. And sometimes it's unattainable. But I tell people to celebrate your journey along the way. Now, you can have a high goal, but within that high goal, set about 10 small goals
Yeah.
because that's the way that we become confident and we see progress and we're able to celebrate ourselves because we reach those milestones, right? It doesn't have to be a high milestone,
Yeah.
it can be a
That's
small
true.
milestone, and they are every bit
It's
worth
important to have the
celebrating.
small ones so you can get to the big ones. Because you'll
100%.
stress yourself out trying to do all that, trying to do one big goal all at once. That's not realistic.
It's not. And if you don't have nobody else to celebrate you, you got to celebrate you, And so I tell people that, right? So if you feel like that, give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. All right. Let's get into the last reason, or ways that you can see if you have too high expectations on yourself, okay? If you feel resentment or jealousy when someone else is doing well or
Mm.
can get the things that you desire, you probably have high expectations for yourself, which in turn
Mm-hmm.
causes you to feel unfulfilled or stagnant. Now, we kind of touched on it
That is
already when
true.
we were saying that we saw people or we see people in social media, and sometimes we can also see people in real life that are doing things that we want to do. They're going on trips that we would like to go on. They're buying things that we would like to buy. And that can make us feel a type of way. And so if we feel a type of way
Right.
about it, you need to check yourself and see why you feeling that way. Do you have too high of expectations because maybe you're not on that level yet? You just not there. You just not there. Because things come to people in different time and it's not on your timing. I tell people that all the time. It's not on your timing. This world, this life that we live in is not on our time. It's already
I
predestined.
agree.
It's
Mm-hmm.
preordained. So we get things
Right.
in our timing. And just like how we can receive things in our time and that shit can be taken away. So enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Why you got it?
Child. Okay. Well, in doing research for this topic, I ran across the following quote. In
Hmm.
all of your relationships, if you can love someone enough to allow them to be exactly what they choose to be without any expectations from you, you'll know true peace in your lifetime. True love means you love a person for what they are, not for what you think they should be.
It's a good one.
Listen, they did a whole thing to me. It's beautiful. The moral of the story is we have to make sure we love ourselves first. Be exactly who you choose to be and not who you think you should be. If you
Yeah.
start there, setting realistic expectations for others is easy. You'll already have a healthy foundation. You won't project your past pains or your insecurities on someone you're supposed to love. Give yourself
Yeah.
grace. I know I've said that, but that is the truth. Give yourself grace. Give your partner grace and communicate.
Yep.
But just so we're clear, setting expectations and boundaries for relationships is never a bad thing.
Right.
Actually, I deem it absolutely necessary. It's
Absolutely.
simply the rule of excess. Too much of anything is never good.
Facts.
Any final words for our humble viewers, Tanisha?
I
Sip
think
this
I've said
last
quite a
song.
lot this evening. Look, I think I've said a lot this evening, but everything that you said was pretty much spot on. But most of all, make sure that you love yourself through the process.
Mm. Mm.
Love yourself through the process. And for my people of color that will listen to this, therapy is not a bad thing.
It's not.
If you know that you have some trauma you need to deal with, and you know for a fact that you want to be loved properly, do the work on yourself so that way when you receive love and you're being loved properly, it won't be foreign to you because you've done the
Ooh.
work to be loved by yourself the right way first.
Ooh. So that you know that the love is not foreign to you. Girl,
Hmm.
you ain't said nothing but a word. All right, guys. Well, Tanisha, I appreciate you being here on Sex.Love.Whiskey Season 3, the mixtape. And just, coming in the studio and talking with me and having this conversation about expectations too high on ourselves and others. And for more behind the scenes information, y'all be sure to go and follow me on social media. I got that IG, my sub, put me on TikTok, baby. Lord help us, because I'm trying to figure that shit out, okay? And go on the website, sexlovewhiskey.com, and we will see you guys. Well, before I crash out, you got to stay tuned on social media because we're going to play Sex Love Whiskey the game with Tanisha. But that's bonus material. So you have to see us or
Ooh.
follow us on social media. All right? So we'll see you next time on Sex Love Whiskey. Peace.
Y'all know what time it is. Coming up next week on Sex, Love, Whiskey.
Actually, when I saw you putting your podcast back up again, I was like, ooh, that sounds like that would be fun. And I'm not even on camera. I'm usually like the background person, but I was like, that would be fun because that sounds like some real ass shit to talk about, So when we first got together, I was his hyper focus.
Gotcha.
And then once we got out of that first like 2 or 3 years and we got into the
Life.
out of the honeymoon phase,
Right.
and into the lifing phase,
Right.
into the dealing with baby mamas and babies and other things. We were going through a lot of other struggles as well as just love language struggles, and it took a toll on me. I know it took a toll on him too.
Right.
But it took a toll on me personally because like I was craving. He was gone all the time, and I'm sitting here craving some type of touch. I walked up to him. I gave him my phone. It was already on the contact page. He put his phone number in, and we started texting.
Okay.
So he was like, "Well, what are you doing after work?" I was like, "Well, I gotta take my daughter to school, but my husband's like."
Right.
So I was like, "But I'm free after that."
So let me stop you there and ask you some questions. Because I want to know, and I'm sure the people that are watching will want to know, what made you give him or your phone to put his contact information in after you had already told him that you weren't single. I know that you were intrigued because he did something opposite or something that you were not used to, but what led to the decision that, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and just see what happens? Fuck it. It had to be a fuck it moment.
Yeah, because things had gotten to a point in my marriage where I was just mentally breaking down.
So this wasn't all in one day.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
This had kind of been, I had been stressed for a few years at this point.
Okay.
And we just kind of had gotten to a point where we didn't talk anymore.
Mm-hmm.
When we did, we were arguing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I'm not saying that I was right. We both had our issues. I felt like I felt that connection to my marriage was not there anymore. Like I didn't feel the same when I was around him.